Hello there, and thank you very much for opening up this video. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Bond, James Bond, not a joke. And hopefully by the end of this video I'll leave you shaken but not stirred. I'm making this video as a tribute to Sarah Harding. Now, I'm unashamedly the biggest Girls Aloud fan that there is in the UK. I followed them since they first started, and I make sure I see them every time they're in concert. And this week, well, in the last few weeks, I've seen them in Manchester, at the Manchester Arena, and in Sheffield Arena. Now, on the concerts, they actually made a tribute to Sarah Harding, and I'm going to go over this in the next few minutes. I'm a personal trainer, and I have lots of young women on my books, and I always tell them all, look at the example of Sarah Harding. She's a role model for all our daughters. Let me explain. Sarah Harding was a schoolgirl who had a dream. And basically she had an outstanding talent for singing, clearly. Okay, and she pursued that dream. She gave everything she had to it, and she became an internationally mega famous pop star. She gave hope and inspiration to millions of young girls across the world. And I would implore you all, if you have a daughter, to get them to have a good look at the story of Sarah Harding. The more people we have in the world like Sarah Harding, the better it is for all of us. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you the recording I made of the tribute that the girls made at the Sheffield concert. I don't claim to hold the copyright on it, and if they want me to remove it, I will do. But it was a very emotional tribute to the late Sarah Harding. Now, the thing is, very unfortunately, she's no longer with us because she died of breast cancer. And in this video, I'm going to give you a whole load of information to help you reduce your risk of breast cancer. I am one of very few personal fitness trainers in the UK who's medically qualified. So I'm going to give you some information today to help you reduce your risk of breast cancer. And the world has suffered the loss of Sarah Harding, a role model to all our daughters. Now, nothing can possibly eliminate your risk of breast cancer, and no treatment is 100% effective. It just gives you a better chance. Now, I'm going to give you a whole load of information, and being a personal fitness trainer and aerobics instructor, what I'm looking to do, subject to legalities, I'll be doing a Girls Aloud, an aerobics routine to Girls Aloud tracks, and basically I will put a proportion of the profits to the Sarah Harding Foundation, her charity. Now, as I stated elsewhere, breast cancer can occur in men as well as women, although it is less common. So if you're a parent, or let's say if you're a parent, what I'd like you to do is once a month, I want to make sure your sons and daughters do a breast self-examination once a month. And if you look below, I've given some links to some good videos on that. For the boys, when at the time you're doing a breast self-examination, you do a testicular self-examination as well, and I'll be doing a separate video on that at a later date. Now, the first things first, my late dad was a GP, and what he would do, he would make sure that every family member did this, and every 3 months he'd examine you himself. It wasn't to be nasty or pervy, he was just out of fatherly love. Now let me tell you what puts you at risk of breast cancer, and let me blow apart any video that you've ever seen before. Okay, what puts you at risk of breast cancer? And the last one, which is very important, is responsible for more deaths due to cancer than anything else. So let me go through this. Again, let me re-emphasize the point. Breast cancer can occur in men as well. So make sure male relatives and female relatives know what I'm about to tell you. First of all, a family history. There is nothing you can do about a family history. But if you have a family member who's had breast cancer, make sure your GP is aware of it, and basically ask you what my late dad used to do. If he did have a patient who had a family history of breast cancer, he'd bring them in on their birthday once a year for a checkup. Okay. Second one, atypical breasts. If the breasts are a little bit unusual, then basically it puts you at higher risk. Say the contralateral. That basically means if you have breast cancer in the left breast, you're more likely to have it in the right. If you have it more in the right, you're more likely to have it in the left. So basically, again, if you've had it, make sure your GP will be aware of it, and they'll put you on a warn list, okay, to make sure that you are checked regularly. Next one, early first period. If your first monthly cycle is before the age of 10 years old, it does put you at a slightly higher risk of breast cancer. Again, make sure your GP is aware of this so they can put you on a list. Okay. The next one is not having any kids. Now, so if you don't have any children, it does put you at a slightly higher risk. The next one is hormone replacement therapy. Unfortunately, we've got to take the rough and the smooth, and anything in medicine, we have to weigh up the risks and the benefits. So obviously, we don't want women who are postmenopausal to get osteoporosis, but we have to balance up with the risk of breast cancer. So that's something I leave to the breast surgeons. The next one is alcohol. There is some evidence that excess intake of alcohol can lead to all sorts of medical complications, and I'm sure cancers are one of them. I mean, hepatocellular carcinoma is more common in people who actually drink a lot. The next one is non-prescribed medication, also known as illegal drugs. There is some evidence that these illegal drugs do put you at higher risk of cancers. If that's a good enough reason not to take them. Things such as cocaine, heroin, marijuana, they're illegal for a reason. For one reason, they kill people. Okay, please don't take them. Next one is drugs. There are some drugs that are prescribed by doctors that do put you at higher risk of these things. Again, you've got to weigh up the risks and the benefits. The next one is smoking. There is nothing good that comes about from smoking. Okay, smoking puts you at higher risk of all sorts of medical conditions, and there's no benefit to this. For those people who say, "Oh, I know my Uncle Joe Bloggs has lived long enough and never had anything who smokes," well, more than likely your Uncle Joe Bloggs subconsciously changed his lifestyle to accommodate his disability, and basically these things are only found on autopsy. So no, don't believe that. Okay, basically smoking does put you at risk of all sorts of things. There is no benefit to smoking whatsoever. The next one is obesity. There are certain cancers that are more common among people who are overweight or obese. One being the undermining of the uterus. However, you will see around about every February, some cancer research charities say the fastest growing cause of obesity is cancer. Sorry, the fastest growing cause of cancer is obesity. The reasons for that are, well, firstly, obesity does put you at higher risk of certain types of cancers, but, and here's the big but, if you're heavily overweight, it's sometimes much more difficult to actually diagnose a cancer because you can't feel an examination. You try palpating someone's abdomen who's heavily overweight, sometimes you can't feel anything. Next, you are a surgical risk because basically it's more difficult to operate on someone who's heavily overweight, and sometimes they have to delay the operation until the person has lost the weight. The same applies to anaesthetic, so while you're losing that weight, the cancer can get worse. So the obesity does put you at higher risk and makes the treatment of cancers or any form of medical treatment a lot harder. The next one is, as I said, a family history. Okay, we can't do anything about a family history, but the last one, the last thing that puts you at higher risk of death from any form of cancer or any form of treatment, and this is the one that really upsets all doctors and patients and everyone, is the failure to seek medical attention soon enough. Okay, that is the biggest one. Every breast surgeon will tell you, or any surgeon or physician will tell you, that someone's come in to their clinic, they've got advanced cancer, which is inoperable, untreatable, and the doctor says, "When did you first notice it?" And the patient says, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever. And they say, "Why didn't you seek help then?" "Oh, I was embarrassed." And it's heartbreaking. So if you do see something that worries you, then please seek attention, medical attention. When you're doing a breast self-examination, if you see anything that worries you, please make a routine appointment with your family doctor, or GP as we say in the UK. With the patient's permission, I can tell you something that happened when I was a final year medical student. This lady came into my late dad's clinic. She noticed a lump in her breast. It was clearly not cancer. It was nothing to worry about. And my dad said to this lady, when did you notice it? She said 3 months ago. And he told her off. He said, look, if you notice a lump in your breast, I need to see you as quickly as possible. He didn't do the appointment system. What used to happen was you turned up, you got seen. Basically, 20 patients would turn up per clinic, he got seen, and then fill in the appointments book later. And the health authority didn't like that. But guess what? He just said to them, okay, when you get a patient complaint about this, I'll change my practice. There was nothing that they could do. So that's what I want you to do. Please, please, please make sure you look at those risk factors. I've put a fact sheet down below. Now, please take action on what I've taught you about. So just to remind you, if you are a parent, please make sure your sons and daughters, because remember breast cancer can occur in men as well, do a breast self-examination once a month. If you have a son, please make sure when your son does the breast self-examination, he does a testicular self-examination as well. Very, very important, and I'll do a separate video on that later on. Please take action on this, and what I'll do, you're about to see the Girls Aloud tribute to Sarah Harding. She's a role model to all our daughters, so please, please, please make sure your daughters know the full story of Sarah Harding. And what I'll do is we look below, and hopefully I'll see you soon, and hopefully I've left you shaken but not stirred. Bye bye.
Monday.